Welcome to Talk of the Town Sunday Recap. It's your boy Jalen Diaz and Payne Warnock, your host. This week of the episode of Talk of the Town, we'll be breaking down what we saw in every game from Sunday. If you want to just, use the chapter tools to just skip to any specific games and listen to them, by all means, check the description in the bio. I like to start it off by saying Jalen Hurts is now considered an MVP.
Yeah.
Well, he's considered a candidate for the MVP.
Nah, you could say it. He's clear right now. He's clear.
Okay, yeah, all right, bet. Yeah, just Jalen Hurts MVP. Yesterday was probably his worst game stat wise. It's just amazing to see what he's been doing, his leadership, and them just leading on the field, even after making a mistake early in the game by throwing an interception and getting that team up early on the board. And like I said last week, I was like, this game right here is a big game for them because this defense is one of the best defenses they'll probably see in the league. He's just playing at an elite level, and I really don't have really nothing else to say. I'm just excited to see that this man thrive because when he got drafted, bro, people were doubting him a lot. Now he's just like this.
All doubts that I had are out the window because that was a legitimate team that he just played. And my whole thing last year was that when he played good teams, they weren't going to beat him. He just got one. I think Philly is legitimately a threat in the NFC now because of their versatility on offense. Because, like I said, it was probably his worst game so far. Say below average for his standards with 204 and an interception, no touchdowns passing. They relied on the run game, and the run game came through. Miles Sanders, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the fact that they can go from Hurts having a great game passing, now he's down, Miles Sanders can come through and step up.
Absolutely.
That's why that offense is scary because they have put up 400 yards in 4 consecutive games.
That is.
Sanders struggles, you can rely on Hurts to throw and run. Hurts struggles throwing, you can rely on him to run. You can rely on Sanders to run. Plus, they got other guys in the backfield that can run too with Gainwell and Scott. Just the amount of talent on the offense, but also how they utilize it is huge right now for Philly, and I don't see them slowing down.
Taking it to New York, I'm pretty impressed with that performance yesterday from Zach Wilson. I'm not going to lie. Season debut, got the cobwebs out of him. Despite the 2 interceptions, he scored a touchdown himself receiving from Berrios. So overall, I like what I saw from the young quarterback because, like I said, it's his season debut. Got to get the cobwebs out. It was a pretty good game, and yeah, I mean, I don't really have nothing negative to say. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I
against
agree.
a good Steelers defense also.
Yeah. If you look at the stat sheet, it would say there's nothing to be impressed about. But if you watch a game and you saw the clutch plays, big plays down the stretch that he made, you should absolutely be impressed, especially for a season debut against a good defense. Yeah. But to add on to that, he went 5 for 5 on the drive to win the game. So you can take all the numbers you want. You go 5 for 5, you win the game on a last drive. That's an impressive performance, especially in your debut.
Jets, like you said, the coach said, we've been laughed at, we've been this and that, but bro, the defensively they got a pretty good squad. Granted, they didn't face the most dangerous offense yesterday, but overall, they can get it done on the defensive side of it. But they've been holding their own so far. Now that they have their starting quarterback back, he put on a decent play yesterday. Hopefully he just gets more comfortable, and once he gets more comfortable, they can probably excel. Your boy Kenny Two Glove Pickett. Well, you think he's going to be the permanent starter going forward?
I think so. I think that's what the fans wanted. I think Trubisky was struggling, but all I really have to say about this topic is it doesn't matter who they start at quarterback. The Steelers are cooked for the rest of the year. It's over.
They are pretty cooked. The key takeaways from that Bills-Ravens game, I feel like there was a lot of mistakes on both sides of the ball from my aspect.
Yeah. Number one, you don't trust either of these quarterbacks when it's raining because they looked horrible. They both looked horrible. Biggest takeaway.
Okay.
Harbaugh is a moron. All right, let's talk about it. Seriously, let's talk about it. You have a tie football game. You just blew it. It was 20-3, and then all of a sudden you stop playing offense. You stop playing defense. You march down that field. When I say march, Jay, you know what I mean? I mean 14 plays, 93 yards, 9.5 minutes, and you get 0 points. They were inside the 5-yard line on a 14-play drive that went 9.5 minutes, and you get nothing. It's so stupid. I don't understand. You have nearly a 100% chance, almost as guaranteed of a kick make as it gets with Justin Tucker from 30, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
Maybe
that's an
if
old school
even
extra
that.
point. Seriously, what is the upside of going for it there versus kicking the field goal? Every time I see a coach make that call, I root against that team for the rest of the game. I think it is so dumb to not take the sure points, especially in that situation. But
Especially
throughout
what
the
we've seen in the
NFL,
past couple of weeks. I didn't mean to
exactly.
cut you off.
Throughout the NFL season, we've seen so many coaches do that, and my team's coach is probably the biggest culprit of it, and I think he's a jackass too. So that's exactly my point. But the fact that you could go out there on 4th and goal from like the 3, I understand having faith in your quarterback, and I respect that. But at what point is it just stupid? Take the points, right? I think at this point it's safe to say same old Ravens. You can expect the same thing. With the decision making on that team, impossible to trust them down the stretch. So, we'll see them in a wild card game. We'll see them win one and then be out of there. Same old Ravens.
Same old
Don't see
Ravens.
them going to the Super Bowl. Don't expect any of that. You look at the run game. Same old Ravens. J.K. Dobbins, 13 carries, 41 yards. Lamar Jackson, 11 carries, 73 yards. One-man show. Lamar doesn't have a good game passing, you're going to lose the football game. That's really all it comes down to.
Should the Cowboys continue to play Cooper Rush?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah?
they should.
Yeah?
Simple as this, Jay. I got no notes other than this. I want you to guess how many interceptions he has this year. Don't guess. 0! He doesn't have the talent Dak Prescott has. He's winning football games right now. He's undefeated. So I know Dak has that bag, but you got to at least ride it out for a little bit.
I just can't agree because it's like I can't sit here and defend Dak Prescott like he goes to the playoffs and gets his job done. So it's like at the same time, it's like, do you trust Cooper Rush that much to continue to play him throughout the season? And if they do get to the playoffs, for him to get the job done?
I wouldn't say right now I trust Cooper Rush to lead the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. But if this dude comes out and he beats the Rams next week and maybe he takes down Philly, why not?
That's
why
different.
That's why I
yeah.
say keep playing him until you find a reason to not. With that defense that we need to give some respect to in Dallas, because that defense is incredible.
Per
I
usual.
think they've given up maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns this year. Like, they are locking it down on defense. And I want to shout out one of the best defenders in the game, Micah Parsons, but I also want to shout out Trayvon Diggs, who finally learned discipline. And he stopped gambling for every single interception, and he just started making the play rather than trying to get a pick. It is very clear the improvement by Trayvon Diggs. But that defense from Dallas has been insane all year. So behind that defense, Cooper Rush not turning the ball over, Zeke and Pollard once again being solid. It's got to be Coop for a little while, man. It's got to be.
I think Matt Ryan had a game yesterday. He had besides the 2 fumbles that he had 300 and something yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Like, bro, it really can't get much, better. It's just the fact that you guys keep turning the ball over. You can't be successful. And you're your coach. He's just a fucking buffoon. I'm sorry. But what do you have to say about your team?
I'm disgusted, Jay. I'm disgusted. Defense is never on the same page. They just don't make plays. They got all these names and they don't make a play. Jonathan Taylor looked horrible yesterday. And now he's hurt. Frank Reich needs to go right now. Seriously. How much more do we need to look at? The offense is the offense is not creative at all. There's nothing out of the offense that makes the defense guess. And then you pair that with his horrible decision-making, especially with going forward on 4th downs. It's just a terrible, terrible team design right now. And Frank Reich, you're piece number 1. You're out of here. Bryce Young, where you at, my boy?
Hey, listen, that would be a good replacement since your boy
franchise quarterback would be great. We had one and then he retired at 29 years old. So I think having a franchise guy would be fantastic. I would love that, truly.
purple and yellow, the Vikings, baby. What do the Vikings need to do to win the NFC North?
All right, so for full transparency for everybody watching, I was not able to watch this game. So I'm going to answer this question, but I'm not going to give you examples from the game because I did not see what happened as it happened.
Likewise.
What they need is Kirk Cousins to be able to perform in big games. You need him to play good against every team. You don't need him to be a superstar.
I agree with everything you're saying. The Vikings just need to keep on being the Vikings. They're typically a team where they can win games throughout the season, the regular season.
Yeah.
They just can't ever show up when it needs to show up most. Mm-hmm. This is the talk of the town, and whatever town you are in, whoever's watching this is in. Are you ready to acknowledge the Giants' drastic improvements?
I think we can acknowledge the improvements. I still don't believe in them as a playoff team, as a really good team, but you could definitely see the improvements. But here's my question back to you. Are they improving that much, or is Saquon Barkley just healthy?
Hear me out. I questioned it. I said, is Giants football back? The reason why they lost last week against the Cowboys was because the fact that Saquon didn't rush over 100 yards. And it's fairly often so far from what I've seen, when he's rushed over 100 yards, this Giants team is actually moving the ball fairly well. I mean, I wouldn't say they're back, but I definitely think they're making those improvements. I still question the quarterback area because, as you can see, both quarterbacks got hurt last week. Tyrod Taylor came in and he already threw an interception. I see the changes. Hopefully they can keep progressing in that area. Daniel Jones needs to figure it out. I don't think, as of right now, he's not that it guy for them for quarterback, but you never know. Some people can wake up one day and decide to be all. But as of right now, I like what I see. West Coast diggy, yeah. The Chargers. Are you still worried about the Chargers? Are we panicking in LA right now for the Chargers?
No, I think there's a decent amount of concern still left because
injuries. That's all it is.
They do have injuries, but they just let so many big plays happen yesterday where the Texans had no business being in that game. Chargers were clearly the better team, and they let Pierce break free for a 75-yard touchdown. They had a decent amount of errors where I'm like, this is why they struggle down the stretch of the season, because they are very, very mistake prone.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. They're staying afloat. I still think the main problem for them are injuries, because offensively, Justin Herbert had a game yesterday, had over 300 yards. So he's, from what we saw last week to this week, it's a lot more better than it was. Big difference, big difference. But overall, I'm just worried about the injuries. Hopefully that team can get healthy very soon, because if not, if they keep going through these games without these key players, it's gonna be a tough change on the defensive side. I'm sorry, guys, we're not getting t-shirts anymore. Maybe we could possibly, I don't know, maybe make some arrangements, but there's no t-shirts anymore. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but the Falcons are tied for first place. How do you feel about it?
Oh man, I feel like, you know what I really feel like, Jalen? I feel like a bad friend.
Because I keep thinking about TK.
I can't help but think about TK. I feel like a bad friend, Jay, because my team sucks, and he doesn't make fun of my team. And here I was bashing his team. I feel like a bad person, Jay. I feel like a bad person.
They're just getting by just to get by right now, I feel like, in my opinion. But I'm not mad they're getting by. But Marcus Mariota barely even had a game yesterday. It was more so on the floor for them. It wasn't, crazy game. So
I mean, I still don't think Marcus Mariota's that good of a quarterback. I mean, he's better than what I had originally expected going into the year, but they're putting up a lot of points. I gotta give him credit for that. So he's not nearly what I thought he was coming into the year. So I take back a little bit of what I said. He's still not great, obviously, but he's enough to win 2 games.
Seattle, Detroit. I'm going to start off by saying this. Jared Goff is surprisingly playing some of the best football of his career right now.
Yep.
He is tied for first for touchdowns, I believe, and he's tied for third in passing yards. Despite the fact that they lost the game, and it sucks that they lost because I like the way that Detroit was. I like that area that Detroit was trending in. Overall, Jared Goff is significantly making improvements for himself.
He's had a very good year so far. I thought going into this year that Jared Goff was one of, if not the worst quarterback in the NFL, and he has slapped me across the face and said, "Shut up, dumbass," because he is balling so far this year. The Lions actually have scored the most points in the NFL through this week, assuming that the Rams don't put up 75 tonight. But they're 1-3. So the Lions are still the Lions. I'll put it that way. Geno Smith has been balling as well.
Oh, yeah.
23 for 30, 320, 2 touchdowns. And he was another guy that I was dogging at the start of the year. And it all brings us back to this. I'm going to do a great transition for you. We thought Geno Smith was going to be a bum coming into this year. We thought Jared Goff was going to be a bum coming into this year. And it's making us forget the fact that we know who the worst quarterback in football is. Baker Mayfield. Let's talk about it, Jay. What a transition by me, truly.
Let's talk about it. Honestly, though, what did I see from the Cardinals? The Cardinals are disorganized. Not a single clue.
Yeah.
And if they weren't facing Baker Mayfield yesterday, it would be a completely different game. That's all I have to say.
He had 3 turnovers again, dude. He's so bad.
Anybody that's a Baker Mayfield fan out there, I feel sorry for you.
I want to shift to the Cardinals real quick because I wish there was something I could say that I saw out of the Cardinals this game. Like, I wish I could just be like, oh yeah, the Cardinals improvement. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're not. Like, they don't have much going for them right now. And
There's nothing else really much to say to that. Honestly,
you want to make a statement. Now's your time because you're playing Philly next week. You got to make a statement. You play Philly this week, so Philly comes to your house. You take down Philly. Then you're back on track. Now it's back into the playoff talk.
What did the game between the Packers and the Patriots say more about?
I think it says some things about the Patriots, but I think it said more about the Packers because the Packers just play down to their competition, and that's why when it comes down to it in the playoffs, they can't win because they play down to the level of their competition. On no planet should that game be close. It does say about the Patriots that they will always be the Patriots. Whoever they want to put in that game, they'll stay in it. Something about Patriots football, man. It's a very interesting thing.
Interesting take. And Patriots fans.
Yeah. They're
because I had like 3 fans tell me yesterday that they don't think Mac Jones is good and they like Bailey Zapp more. I had over 3 fans say that to me, and I'm just sitting there like, why?
Well,
how?
I mean, Jay, all they're going to do in New England is dump the ball off 4 yards downfield and hope the receiver can run. That's just what they do in New England, so it's not like you need a guy like that's going to come. It's not like the Patriots are going to be bringing in Lamar Jackson. They don't do players like that are playmakers. At quarterback, they do guys that can hit a check down and guys that can read a defense. That's what they do in New England, so.
But that's what I feel like Mac Jones has been doing.
He's been solid with it, but it was a bad start for New England. And, we'll see. This could be another Cowboys situation where if the backup comes in and plays better, there's no obligation to keep Mac Jones. He's not getting paid.
The third string, and not even just the backup.
That's a good point. But Rodgers not a guy that turns the ball over much, and that's the 3rd time he's turned it over. The second one that's been very costly. So that's something we got to look for in Aaron Rodgers. It's not Devontae Adams anymore. It's not a guy that's going to go make the play for you. So if we start to see an increase in interceptions, we can answer a few questions about Aaron Rodgers.
A lot of questions about Aaron Rodgers that needs to be answered.
Most of them aren't about football, but there's definitely a lot of questions about Aaron Rodgers. Number 1 is that hair. What the hell is going on up there?
More Raiders talk.
Oh, boy.
So, my thoughts on this game was I thought we were going to shoot ourselves in the foot and go 0-4. It's the fact that both teams we're on a rocky start, and the fact that we came out and pulled that win out our back pocket, it was a big win for us. I'm really happy. Overall, I feel like offensively we moved the ball a little bit better than we usually did, and defensively it was still sometimes those costly mistakes, but I'm not too mad about what happened last night.
Well, you were moving the ball, Jay, because Josh Jacobs, you could rely on him, and he was backpacking for a while. 28 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was running all over the Broncos defense, which is not something I expect to say about any running back, really. The Raiders' defense, run defense specifically, was what won him the game because Javonte Williams is a very, very, very good running back, and he was stuffed for 10 carries, 28 yards, and a long of 13. So that means most of the time he was running straight into the line and going down. He wasn't doing much. You look at the Raiders. Wow, Jay, look at that. No turnovers. You win the game. When Jacobs has a game like that, I mean, it's not
much you can do.
It's not much you could do if you're Denver. That's not something you come to expect from Jacobs, but that's not something you come to expect when a team plays the Broncos because the Broncos have a really good defense. So giving up 32 to the Raiders, who was 0-3, I think that says a decent amount about the Raiders that they're not just going to roll over. And now it's game time.
Last but not least, Sunday Night Football. I've already said, but now we can definitely say that we should be worried about the Bucs, right? Like, can everybody agree with me?
I would agree with you at this point because I've been screaming the praises. Their defense has been so good. Their defense has been so good. Mahomes said,
this Chief offense, if they continue, yesterday I had it written in my head that this team might go back to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna be real with you. When you have a good enough offense, all you need is a team on your defensive side that can hold its own. And they were holding its own yesterday. Granted, pretty much all the receivers were back yesterday for the Buccaneers. You had Evans, you had Godwin, you had Jones. So it is no excuse really. You had Leonard Fournette, you had that rookie John White who made a bad play in the beginning of the half by fumbling the ball, but then he made up for who he's had a pretty decent game. But like overall, I think we should be worried about the Bucs because they single-handedly just got bent over and spanked yesterday.
Tom Brady had a game, so that was my concern. Was Tom Brady wasn't playing well enough? He wasn't putting points on the board. He did put points on the board. Granted, game was already over. Maybe that can get Brady back on track. We'll see. But Patrick Mahomes, once again, best quarterback in football right now. If you want to argue with me, don't. Because there is no argument.
Arguing with a wall because
he's the best quarterback in football. Moving on to the deciding factors. We're going to talk about tonight's game first. We got the Rams at the 49ers. Jay, who wins? What's the biggest deciding factor?
Rams win. Deciding factor is Jimmy G.
Interesting. Deciding factor on the other side. Jimmy G being garbage. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now this is very interesting. Thursday night football. The Colts travel to Denver. Who wins Colts Broncos and why?
Well, I mean, you guys, John Taylor is hurt, so that definitely changes my opinion. I just looked at the screen. Jonathan Taylor's hurt, so that definitely brings it to one-sided for me right now, truthfully. And like you said, your defense hasn't been working as a unit. Is Shaq returning this week?
I don't know. He played 2 quarters yesterday and then got a concussion, so I don't think he's going to be playing.
Oh, I did not know that. That's actually interesting. That's a deciding factor right there also. The fact that your best defensive player came back and he's already out. Nice. So I have Broncos winning. Thank you.
So fair to say that just as a general, the deciding factor would be the injuries to the best player on offense and the best player on defense.
Yeah,
is that fair?
Literally, basically. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. It was a pleasure. Last week we had a great amount of views. Still not liking the videos, which doesn't make sense to me because I know people have YouTube accounts. I have a YouTube account. If you don't have a YouTube account, you're a noob. But like, comment, subscribe. Check the link in the bios for all the other videos that Pay and have.
With that being said, see y'all next Monday.
Sir.